Your radio.
It's from the Dailies, your early morning companion.
Every Monday through Saturday from 8 a.m. to 8:30 a.m.
on Melody 107.7 FM. Starting to Nigeria's biggest stories of the day. From the Dailies, news that talks to you. Only on Melody 107.7 FM, Lagos.
From the Dailies on your favorite radio station. Melody 107.7 FM. Stay tuned.
It's another beautiful morning out here in the city of Lagos. Today is the 27th in the month of July 2026. Good morning and welcome to From the Dailies reaching you on Melody 107.7 FM. This is the first edition for this new week. It sure promises to be another bright and lovely week for us all. Alright, this is where we're going to take you through stories that made it not just to the front pages of the papers, but as well as the inside pages of the papers, giving you juicy details of the story as well as expert analysis as we flow along. I am Roland Imoyera. Thanks for joining us on this morning's edition of the program. Of course, like I always say, I'm not alone. The gentleman of the press is already smiling at me this morning. Good morning.
Well, pleasant morning to you wherever you are trending across the world. Yes, because we're not just serving our terrestrial audience, we are also on our online platforms. I am Matthew Oluwasegun Ijabiken, MOI, reporting for duty this morning.
Well, don't forget, at the right time, we will be opening the studio lines for you to call in to share your thoughts and opinions on any of the stories that will resonate with you in the course of the program. You have an idea you want to share with us, you have questions you want to ask us. We will be opening the studio lines at the right time for you to call in to share your thoughts concerning any of the stories that we will be reading out to you in the course of the program for this morning. It's from the Dailies right here on Melody 107.7 FM, and we are ready to roll. Do stay with us. We'll be right back.
All right, I have from my end The Guardian as well as the Vanguard newspapers.
And I will take you through stories that made it to the Nigerian Tribune as well as the Punch newspapers for today.
And now quickly from The Guardian newspaper, the big bold one, overlapping budgets. Our weak budgeting, culture, AIDS, graft, poverty, ghost allocations. That's on page 6 for details. Moving on, electricity subsidy. It's 1.78 trillion naira. As gas debt nears 1 trillion naira. And that's the details on page 3 of the Guardian newspaper this morning. Oye 6 CBN intervention. I said Oye, I mean that should be Oye. Oye 6 CBN intervention says Nigerians are paying over 300%. Explains the PFIPC's appropriation as a BMO denies a Buhari link to scandal. And that's on page 2 for details. Moving on. Oshu 2026, Accord Party raises alarm. Voter registration closes amid concerns over access. Election credibility, that's on page 6 for details. Away from that, gunmen abduct Kebbi High Court judge. Kill 3 in Benue. Moving on, military rescues 48 abductees in Zamfara as ISWAP Finance chief surrenders in Borno. All of this and more on the front page of the Guardian newspaper this morning.
Well, the Guardian is quite loaded this morning. The front page is quite loaded, and we see quite a number of business stories that affect the life of Nigeria. But I want to quickly start with this sad one that you read. Yes, the abduction of the Kebbi High Court judge Matthew. It just shows that these guys are becoming more brazen and more bold in their attacks. You know, not just the security agencies right now, high-ranking officials of the military. This is getting now to the judicial sector for them to be able to come and abduct a high court judge. It shows that these guys are really, 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 really emboldened. And well, let's just hope that they
as
get
the
to.
saying goes, how are the mighty falling? If top military officers have been affected, and now the High Court judge has been affected, what is the hope of the common man?
Yes, it's not just the High Court judge now, is a civilian. What about the military, high-ranking military personnel who have been
the wherewithal
to be able to attack and then repel these attacks from these guys? If they can pick high-ranking officials of the military who is safe in Nigeria, it shows that a lot still needs to be done in the fight against terrorism and crimes in the country. Another one I want us to touch on this morning is that of the voter registration, which closed yesterday now amid concerns over access and election credibility. There's been so much concern. I also read somewhere in Osun State where some gunmen attacked a center and cut away PVCs meant to be distributed to people. These are things that we should not be discussing about as the build-up gets closer to the election, not just in Osun State, but the general election, the big one that's coming up across the country next year. And INEC needs to still do a lot now to ensure a free, fair and credible polls. Opinions have been tilted. If you want to be really sincere, people have contrasting opinion concerning their take on how fair they feel the election will be. Has INEC been compromised? Some will tell you yes, some will tell you no. But everybody has their own, depending on the device.
Don't forget that even the chairman of INEC,
he has been under so much scrutiny.
Last week was saying that if INEC has to operate with autonomy, that it
also financially, it's budget, yes. But I don't think they can be truly financial. But it's still an agency, within the government. Its budget needs to be scrutinized. It to be passed by the National Assembly and all. They need to go and defend the budget. So I don't think, for now, I don't know, maybe they come up with another modality later to ensure. But
if that is going to happen, I hope the powers that be will not also be manipulating INEC.
Well, whatever it is, it's because a genuine cause for concern, which we've been getting all over time. Now, how weak budgeting culture aids grafts, poverty, ghost allocation. This is a serious concern because we get to see huge amounts of money being budgeted for different agencies, ministries, departments, and agencies, virtually on a yearly basis. Without the masses really getting to feel the impact of this. Now, I think this report has attributed it to weak budgeting culture. Now, it also brings me, Matthew, to what we were discussing last week, talking about the implementation and monitoring of all this humongous amount of money that's been released to these ministries, departments, and agency. I just hope that in the next budgeting cycle that is coming up, all these great areas, all those things that are being pointed out will be fine-tuned. And if the administration of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu wants to really leave a lasting legacy, I think this is one area they really need to pay serious attention to. Yes. Okay, I think that's the much we can take from the Guardian newspaper this morning. All right, let me quickly begin mine now from this the Nigerian Tribune newspaper for today. On the front page of the Nigerian Tribune newspaper, we also have this interesting headlines as well. Okay, North should trust me with presidency. That is credited to who? Peter Obi. Yes, that's on page 2 of the Nigerian Tribune for this morning. It has the rider says only inclusive leadership can truly heal Nigeria. I wonder why every election cycle, every contestant now always want to portray themselves as a friend of the North. I don't know why is every region in the country is play a vital role now. It's quite important now in who emerge as the president at the end of the day. But why is it that in most cases people pay specific attention to the northern region? What is the catch here, Matthew?
If you check the map of Nigeria, you see that they don't have more land mass, land spaces than other parts of Nigeria. So it's also, so it's believed that if you can get a huge number of votes on that side, that at least you are rest assured of getting a place in winning the election. So that's why everyone is always particular about getting winning their attention from that side.
Well, I also feel you are right. I quite agree with you. I also feel that the North also have their interest in every single election, and these are people that speak with one voice most time. They vote in one particular direction. 077, or you can call us on 0704-800-1077 if you want to be a part of the program for this morning. Let's move on to other stories from the front page of the Nigerian Tribune newspaper for today. Power sector. Nigeria needs $228 billion in electricity investments between 2026 to 2045. That is credited to the presidency. All this huge amount of money in the past, I think so much amount of money has been invested in this particular power sector, with Nigeria still living in the experiencing darkness, yes, in most parts of the country. Well, plays a very vital and critical role in the economy of the country. You know, without power, we all know how businesses might even shut down. People will lose their jobs. It even makes life a bit easier and simpler for people. So let's just, whatever they need to do to ensure sanity in the power sector, I think is something that we need to take seriously. Let me move on to other stories now from the Nigerian Tribune newspaper. Nigeria well positioned for inclusive growth if reforms continue. That is credited to the IMF, that's the International Monetary Fund. Okay, let's move on to other stories. Kano, Lagos, Edo top as INEC concludes final phase of continuous voter registration. It ended yesterday. Tinubu may meet more Oyo APC stakeholders as power tussle intensify in Kwara, Benue. President Tinubu is always coming to the rescue of the party. That shows, it portrays the quality of a good leader who wants to ensure that the party is always
not divided.
It's not divided. There's unity. They speak with one voice, because this is very critical and a very vital issue in the build-up to the election. It's essential that most political parties, unite and speak with one voice. We all know what led to seemingly downfall of the almighty PDP, with they started having little internal crisis, which seemed to be which they couldn't really resolve. Let's see if we can pick this particular one. Hello, good morning. Good morning. Thanks for joining us on the this morning edition of the program. Your name and where you're calling us from, sir?
Yes. Good morning, sir.
Go ahead, sir. Thank you. Go ahead.
I'm not saying anything. The money the federal government has been spending on energy. Power has been so epileptic. So many houses have not been metered. People are still having estimated billing and the rest. So,
rescued
from captivity. But what of those taken away from Kogi, Borno, what is the other state? Kwara. Where are they?
All right, thank you so much for calling the radio station this morning. He asked some very vital questions. The ones in Borno, another part of the country, the tempo now seems to have been fizzling away ever since the rescue of the rain. The rain is quite different. The condition is quite different, so you cannot really compare. But I do know, and I'm certain that the security agencies are not really sleeping. I'm sure a lot is being done without even we being in the know concerning the rescue of this particular accident. Thank you for raising that.
You also talked about the power sector.
The power sector, over time, a lot of money has been spent. Remember, from the Obasanjo administration, huge amount of money being allocated to rescue the sector. Till today, like he did, he also touched about the metering system. Yes, so many people are still not,
still getting estimated bills.
Estimated bills, even when you don't have power supply a country in the right direction. All right, 7th week of incarceration added for us. Rescued Orire school principal narrates ordeal during Thanksgiving. That's on page 19 of the Nigerian Tribune newspaper for today. Okay, Ondo Assembly crisis deepens as Speaker fights for survival. Lawmakers open more can of worms. I thought it was given until yesterday to tender his resignation of his impeachment. Well, Nigerians hardly resign from office. It's something that's but let's also hope that the crisis will be resolved in time in that particular state. Hoodlums invade Osun PVC distribution center, cut away voter card. This was the story I was talking about earlier on. When they were distributing PVCs yesterday, the hoodlums actually invaded them. Invaded a particular location.
The hoodlums must have been sponsored by particular politicians.
Allegedly sponsored. Well, I'm sure that they don't work in isolation. Actually,
of course.
Yes, either but they have an interest now. They're trying to promote, probably out of a political party or an individual. And what do they want to even do with the PVCs of individuals? All these are aimed at truncating the credibility of the Osun poll. Remember, there's already tension in that particular state concerning the forthcoming governorship election. It's been we see killings right, left, and center. The IG has been there. So many people have been there trying to urge for calmness, trying to, sign peace treaties right, left, and center. But I think it's not a good one coming from. A lot need to be done. The orientation need to be passed down to the people to ensure that the election is not a do or die affair. Yes, you have to ensure that it is credible, and that is the only way people can.
And you should not disenfranchise people because denying them access to their voter cards, it means you have disenfranchised them
automatically. And I'm sure they are not going to go give those voter cards to people that are not supposed to vote. And you understand what I'm trying to say, Matthew?
The card carries your identity.
This is Nigeria.
It carries your picture and all that.
This is Nigeria. All right, let me quickly round up from the Earth's corner of the Nigerian Tribune this morning. Consumption of common sweeteners linked to faster decline in memory thinking skills. Guys who are putting their life out there on a daily basis now to ensure that we are safe, ensure that the country is safe, ensure that our borders are protected. These guys give their life on a daily basis. They pay the ultimate price. So I think it's not it's a step in the right direction. Calling for anything that will motivate their morale. Not just beyond the salaries. There are other incentives that they can look into to ensure that these guys will feel okay. They are actually paying. They are being appreciated for the efforts they are putting on a daily basis to secure the country. Another big one that you touched on is articles faulting President Tinubu's borrowing spree amid 7.98 trillion naira oil windfall. We all know what the war in Iran, has led between Iran and the US now. So many people so many big countries are really cashing out from this particular windfall, like they put it, and we still see Nigeria still borrowing more and more. I think it's something that it's a call for concern in that particular direction. Obi Kwankwaso's ticket, best chance of winning. It's just political talk, depending on the that's credited to Babachir Lawal, the former SGF of the Federation. It just depends on the divide you are standing. That will determine.
And it has, there's one of the kickers there saying Tinubu lacks capacity to lead Nigeria. That's credited to Peter Obi. So if he lacks the capacity, is it the one who has what it takes to lead Nigeria?
The fact is that he's just talking from the position of an opposition party, just like the way the presidency will come out. They've come out several times to tell you Peter Obi is not the right man for this job. This is just politics and bickering we get to experience. That's the beauty of politics, and the fact is that this is democracy at play to a large extent in Nigeria, because I know in some climes now you cannot even come out as an opposition figure to criticize the government of the day.
Then that's not really democracy.
Yeah, that's not democracy. So let's just still enjoy the beauty and the flexibility, a bit for now. But let me just, because of our time, we'll quickly take this one from the Punch newspaper for this morning. We have the story: opposition splits over single candidate to challenge President Tinubu. All right, moving on to other stories. Federal government budgets 1 trillion naira for empowerment SUVs amid rising borrowing pressure. That's on page 7 of the Punch for this morning. It asks the rider: allocation exceeds combined budget of 7 key federal ministries. Only 70 of 2,579 empowerment projects have identified locations. That is coming from Tracker. Okay, economist questions pending priorities, demand accountability. These are really, really, really key pressing issues. If the federal government can budget 1 trillion naira for empowerment and SUVs amid rising and borrowing pressure, these are keys that really, really, really need to be looked into. The budgeting culture, like we read out the other time, and how this money is being utilized. Priorities should be given to key components of the economy that will lift Nigerians out of poverty, to make Nigerians feel the impact of all this big money we keep generating.
While prioritizing food, prioritizing
shelter,
prioritizing security.
Yes. All right, APC draft Omisore into 276 member Osun Governor Campaign Council. That's on page 22 of the paper. Federal government raises varsity workers hazard allowance to 486,000 naira, which is a good one to encourage people in that sector. Fake agency scandal, Reps Grill Accountant General today. The drama continues. Hoodlums invade Osun INEC office, cut away PVC.